All right, let's talk about the invisible force that's probably running on the device you're using right now. It's one of the world's most popular programming languages, and yet it's kind of hiding in plain sight. So let's pull back the curtain. So let's just kick things off with a little pop quiz. You've got Google, the biggest search engine on the planet. You've got Instagram, where everyone's sharing photos. And you have YouTube, the king of online video. What's the one thing that connects all three of these giants? Yep, you guessed it, the answer is Python. A huge chunk of the code that makes these platforms tick, the very digital backbone that holds them up, is built using the Python programming language. It's this secret engine that drives a massive piece of the internet you use every single day. Which, of course, brings us to the next big question. What is Python really? I mean, how did this one language get so woven into the fabric of our digital world? Okay, so if you look up the official definition, you're going to see something like this. Python is an open-source, object-oriented, high-level, general-purpose programming language. I know, that is a total mouthful of tech jargon, but stick with me because each one of those words is actually a clue to why it's so incredibly popular. Let's just translate that into regular English, shall we? Open source basically means it's totally free for anyone, anywhere to use. High level means the code looks and reads a lot like English, which makes it way easier for beginners to get the hang of. And general purpose? Well, this one might be the most important. It means it's like a Swiss Army knife. You can use it to build almost anything you can dream up. And on top of all that, it's backed by this massive global community of people who are always helping each other out and making it better. You know, one of Python's real superpowers is something called libraries. The best way to think about them is like giant pre-built Lego kits, right? If you want to build a Lego spaceship, you don't start by melting plastic to make every single brick yourself. No way. You grab the spaceship kit that already has all the special pieces. Python's libraries are just like that. They give developers all the pre-built code they need to do amazing things without starting from scratch every time. Okay, so where do we actually see these Lego kits in action? Well, the first and probably biggest area is data. This is where Python really shines, taking just raw, messy piles of information and turning them into powerful, clear insights. We've all heard that phrase, right? Data is the new gold. And it's true. Every time you click, you buy, you watch something online, you're creating data. But all that data is pretty much worthless unless you can make sense of it. And that's where Python comes in. It's like the ultimate digital pickaxe, the perfect tool for mining all that information to find the actual gold. So in this whole world of data, Python wears a few different hats. A huge part of what it does is just basic data analysis, cleaning up and sorting through massive spreadsheets. Another big piece is data visualization, which is just a fancy way of saying it turns all those boring numbers into charts and graphs that we can actually understand. And then you get to the really futuristic stuff, machine learning and AI, which are, without a doubt, two of the most exciting things you can do with Python today. So how does something that sounds as complicated as machine learning actually work? Well, with Python, it's a surprisingly simple three-step process. First, you feed a model a whole bunch of old data. Then, using one of those awesome Lego kit libraries, the model hunts for hidden patterns in that data. And finally, it uses those patterns to make really smart guesses, or predictions, about new stuff it's never seen before. This is literally how Netflix knows what show you're going to binge next, or how Spotify builds that perfect playlist for you every single week. But Python isn't just for digging through data. Oh no, it's also a master builder, the architect behind the invisible structures that hold up so much of the internet we rely on. Think about any website you visit as being like an iceberg. The part you see, the buttons, the text, the images, that's the front end. It's just the tip of the iceberg. But underneath the water, there's this massive hidden structure. That's the back end. It's the server, the database, all the logic that makes the website actually work. And that is where Python lives, doing all the heavy lifting with powerful tools called frameworks, like Django and Flask. And beyond just building websites, Python is an absolute genius at automation. Just think about all those boring, repetitive tasks you might have to do, like renaming 1,000 files or copying and pasting info from a spreadsheet. A simple Python script can do that for you in like a second. For developers, this is a total game changer. We're talking about saving up to 70% of their time. That's huge. And the cool thing is, this isn't just for professional coders. Anyone can use Python to automate their own life. You could write a script that automatically organizes your messy photo folder, or one that scours the web for the cheapest flight prices. It's seriously like having your own personal assistant, a productivity superpower. Okay, so we've seen what Python can do for Google and for professional developers. But let's bring this all back home. Why should you care about any of this? How does this actually matter for your future? Well, it really boils down to 4 key things. First, demand for people with Python skills is just exploding right now. That leads directly to number 2, the pay is great. Third, even if you don't want to be a full-time programmer, it's an incredible tool that can make you way better and more efficient at whatever job you already have. And maybe the best reason of all, it's famous for being one of the absolute easiest programming languages for a total beginner to pick up and learn. So what kind of jobs are we talking about here? Well, take a look. You've got data scientists who are using Python for all that cool machine learning stuff. You have web developers building the back end of websites. You've even got roles like DevOps engineers and data analysts. Python is a core foundational skill for so many of today's best and most in-demand jobs. So you're probably wondering, okay, how long is this going to take? And this, honestly, might be the best part. You can learn the absolute basics, the fundamentals of the language, in just 15 to 30 hours of focused learning. Seriously. From there, you just pick your path. Want to get good at data analysis? That might be another 50 hours. The journey is actually super clear and achievable because you can tackle it in these smaller, manageable chunks. Now, if you're looking into data science, you'll often hear this debate. Should I learn Python or this other language called R? And look, they're both great, but more and more, Python is becoming the #1 choice. And the reason is simple. It's that Swiss Army knife quality. Because you can also use it for building websites, and for automation, it's just become the more popular, do-it-all option for most people. All right, let's say you're in, you see the power, you see the opportunity. What is the very first step you should take on this journey? Here's the most amazing part. You don't need to quit your job and go back to school for 4 years. Like we just saw, that first step is learning the fundamentals, and you can get that done in about 30 hours. Think about that. You can gain a skill that could literally change your career in just a few weeks of your spare time. So if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. Python isn't just a programming language. It's a tool that gives you the power to build things, to understand data, and to automate your work. It really is a superpower for this digital age we're all living in. And that just leaves us with one last question to think about. Python is without a doubt building the future of technology. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?